All right, guys, we're back again with another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal, and today, very excited. I bring you guys all different people, all different types of investors who have different specialties. And today we have Brandon Schwab. I'll read his bio real quick. He's a real estate wholesaler to boutique senior living mogul within 5 years. Now, he started wholesaling in 2010 post-crash, specializing in sandwich lease purchases to convert active income to passive income until he discovered a better way to create massive passive income. He started Shepherd Premier Senior Living in 2014 and have now nearly 80 bids for assisted living here. So this is a different niche. It's still real estate related. Brandon, thanks for coming to the show. The first question I always ask the guests is, why are you passionate for real estate investing?
Why am I passionate? Well, back before I even got into doing just wholesaling in 2010, I owned an on-site car detail business, and I did cars, boats, and RVs for about 14 years. One of the common things that I just saw is everyone that had the absolute coolest cars, biggest toys, biggest houses, they all built that from a form of either building homes, the common of everybody that kind of all built everything up, it all came back to either being able to own homes or they all earned their dollars off of that. So when I got the 2008 crash, I was like, I have to get into a different business that doesn't go up and down as bad as we were currently hit in 2008. And I opted to jump into this business back in 2010. So that's kind of how I was able to get into it. I earned great active income, but I also just figured out quickly that the active income's great, but it is only great if it gives you time to actually be able to just use it. And that's when I figured out that I had to create the active income. I had to figure out how to turn it into create ongoing passive income, because the first couple of years I was doing 20 to about 30 deals per year. But after I got done with each deal, and our average deal was between 5 and 10 per deal, we had to keep on going. We had to keep on doing deals to keep up with everything, because after I was able to do that deal, I didn't have anything else coming in. So I had to keep on just hustling. I got into this business and I first got into this business to earn $10,000 passive income each month. I opened up our first house in 2015. I filled it just under 2 years later, and we were clearing 20 grand per house passive income. And I was like, okay, this is a good business. And then a thing that happened that was pretty interesting is it began changing from the urge to earn passive income to the overall purpose to give back. And that's how it changed, where we weren't just chasing dollars anymore. It was to give an opportunity for the folks who are older, who have been in their own home for 50 to 80 years, to have the opportunity to actually go and to end their final piece of life in an actual place they are used to. Our homes have anywhere from 10 to about 15 beds each. We purposely do that so it has a very comfortable type of a just home feel.
So
compared to these other places that have 200 plus beds and are kind of like an institutional type place, people aren't asking to go to those type of places if they are going to have an actual option.
So let's back up for a second. So is senior living facilities that you create in a residential atmosphere instead of a commercial atmosphere. So guys, you're listening now, he actually started wholesaling and then he transitioned into creating, taking single family homes, and if I'm not mistaken, you have 4 locations in Illinois, um, and turning them into residential senior living facilities where it's more comfortable, and basically you offer different types of things. So let's talk about this. Is this not caregiving? What else is involved besides just the caregiving in these facilities?
So we have, so just to back up, we've got, as of today, we've got 3 homes open. I got 3 homes that are going to be open by the first quarter of 2020. That is 80 beds right there. But also we've got 12 acres that we are building. And by August of 2020, that will add 144 beds to our total portfolio.
Wow.
But so a thing that our business does, though, is we offer care in a private home, but a thing that's different is they all eat together. So there's a big 10-person table and they all eat. Now, a thing that is going to be interesting on that is it's like the typical house where when a family is able to get to, when they're able to eat together, every time they've got the opportunity to kind of talk back and forth. Sometimes they kind of argue back and forth, but like that gives them the type of atmosphere where they get really close to everyone else in there. We purposely don't do it where there's a table of 4 to 5 people, because then these people get in their own little internal groups of buddies that only are going to just hang out with each other. So our business is very different. A thing that's interesting is as I was going to get into this business, I was thinking about getting into the apartment business, right? Because it almost seems like everyone else is like chasing the whole apartment business, but they're often after that business to create passive income, because passive income turns into extra time that you could go do other things.
Absolutely.
And when I got exposed to this back in 2014, I saw a 5-bed home that had 5 people in there. And at the time, I had 23 homes that I built up from 2012 through 2014. And our passive income of those homes was about $5,400 each month. Well, I go into this 5-bed home in 2014, which is right outside of Tampa. And when I figured out that the income of that 5-bed home outperformed all 23 of our other homes 2 times each month, I was like, man, I need to get out of this business and I need to find an avenue. So I came back up to our hometown, and I kind of thought, like, as I came home, that they would be everywhere, right? And I kind of found out that there's only 55 of them in the entire part that I am. So I'm from. Now in Johnsburg, Illinois, there's only 1,200 people here, but in our county of 308,000 people, they didn't have any of these. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" So and when I first got exposed to it, now just Florida has 1,800 of them. I think California has about 2,800. I think that Arizona has like 3,000. But so it was interesting because when I came back home, there was 55. And I just saw that as an opportunity that I could easily open up the house. I could get it up and, but then I partnered up with a gal who was in the healthcare business for 38 plus years. And that's where our business is today. Is I've got a person who gets it, who's able to handle the day-to-day business, and we get to keep on opening up homes. But our first 10-bed home outperforms a 24-unit apartment building about 5 times per month.
Oh, wow. That's
so
amazing.
I'm like, dang. So and that opened up our eyes, because this isn't an opportunity just to earn dollars. It is an opportunity to give back, because folks who are older, if we're all totally honest, people don't really begin asking questions of like, what's going to happen to them after their time is up here on Earth. But they begin asking those questions when it's closer to the end. And our partner, Teresa, has been able to answer those questions over the past 5 years. We've had 8 people pass in our home. And a cool part of our business is everybody who's ever passed, they've been able to answer where they're going to go after Earth and also how they are going to actually to get there. And that has a very big purpose, that we get to give back. And it isn't just chasing dollars anymore. Although they do earn awesome money, we've got an opportunity here where our top KPI is that everyone that ever passes in our homes gets to have that part answered. So a thing that's different on our business is, if that's our top point to drive for our business, we only have to do one caregiver to every 5 people. Now, if you look at these other places that are going to have 150 to 200 people, their one caregiver has to care for 15 to 20 people.
Wow.
The difference there is, if you go into these places, there's an odor, okay? It isn't a very good odor, but that odor is because people aren't getting good care. And if we have an opportunity to change that, we are able to totally do that. So our business opened in 2015. We've got a gal in our home today that has been with us since December of 2015. And that feels great to be able to help people, because we're taking good care of them. They don't pass. Like, it's a good part of our business. Where these other places, that odor is that they aren't getting good care. And that's actually the biggest cause that people pass in these homes, is they have to be changed, and they're in it for a couple, 2, 3, 5 hours, and then their tissue gets very tender, and as they turn, it is able to tear. When that tissue gets infected, that oftentimes is, and that's the cause that causes people to pass in these 200-bed homes. Now, that's an easy thing to take care of if you check, and if you get people changed every 2 hours. In the other big places, that just isn't happening. So our business discovered an opportunity to take better care of people, and we have done very good at it. As we opened our first house, our plan wasn't to open up any other homes. People just kept calling. They just kept talking to other people, and we're like, okay. So we opened up home 2, then home 3, and just kind of kept going. And we're on pace to have 15 homes open by 2020. Now, a thing that I think you'll probably pick up is, we don't call our homes the F word. Okay, when I tell you about the F word, like, that's the bigger institutional type places, right? We have actual 15 just homes, because that's what they are. And we feel blessed to offer a type of a atmosphere that feels just like home, rather than an institutional bigger place, you know?
So the F word is facility.
Facility.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Make sure. All right.
In our office, we politely joke back and forth with everyone in our office that if they ever use the F word, we always call them out on being able to use the F word.
Oh, all right. So you actually answered my second question, which was great. I was going to ask what makes it a good investment, but going back, you said that you realized early on that the 23 properties you had at $5,400 a month, is one 5-bedroom home, generated more income.
Good job.
than those 23 properties. So, wow, that's amazing, man. And then it has an impact and income. You know, you all around, you're doing it.
Yeah, it is an opportunity that it has the just feel good piece to it. There are plenty of places out there that people are able to park their dollars, and those are awesome as well. this is just an opportunity that I feel people oftentimes, when they think of putting dollars into this type of asset class, a 200-bed building to build a brand new is about 52 to 55 just $1 million. So if you invested 100, 200, 500,000, you're going to get a really, really, really tiny piece of that overall business. The difference here is we are changing how the elder business is even being offered. And by that being offered, I've got a background that I'm very good at getting the owners to carry back paper. And in fact, out of all of our homes, we've only paid cash for 2 of them. And we got the owners carrying back paper on 4 of them. In fact, our highest interest is 1.5%. So if I'm going after assets that really don't have anybody else trying to purchase them, I mean, who's trying to buy a 5,000 square foot, just one floor property? I mean, those are on the MLS all day long for 500 plus days. So if I get to go in there and if I get to offer them, hey, I will give you the full asking price, but I need a 5 to 10 year term, and I'll pay you $5,000 each month. Well, they couldn't get $5,000. They couldn't get it anywhere else. But I'm paying down principal at $2,500 each month. So it's a very appealing offer that it's an asset class that people aren't going after. So our properties today, our tiniest one's about 4,500. Our biggest one is 18,000.
Wow.
So I get to go after these oddball properties that even can have taxes that are going to be pretty high, because for our business, our average bed is about $5,500 each month. Well, if you times it by 10 beds, if you've got a total gross income coming in each month of $55,000, you don't really get too concerned on a tax bill of $2,000 to $3,000 per month. Where the other options out there, that would probably break that deal. Okay, but on a 10-bed home, our typical gross income is about $55,000. Our gross expenses are between $30,000 and $32,000. Well, after the expenses, if these homes are able to clear $20,000 to $22,000, even at a 20% vacancy factor, you are still clearing $15,000 per month. I mean, what other asset class can you generate that type of income out of a actual home? You can't. So it gives us the opportunity to get these homes up and operational. I typically bring in an outside investor who is going to cover the dollars that has to go into each home. A thing about our business is we typically over fix up these homes. So our average into each home is about $500,000. Our big 18,000 square foot house, I'm putting to $1,085,000 in it. But those properties are able to create big time passive income. But the whole point of us being able to do that is after I have these homes open and fully occupied, I can go back into a bank, and a bank's going to give me a cash out based off of a 10% cap rate. So if you took $20,000 each month times 12, you got $240,000 each year of actual NOI. At a 10% cap rate, that valuation is $2.4 million. They'll give me 80% of that all day long. So even if I gave the person who owns that house $500,000, and if I put $500,000 in, so I'm all in for $1.2 million all in, we can get 80% of $2.4 million all day long. So they're going to give me to $1.8 million, and then our business has a tax-free just refi of about $500,000, and then we just keep going. There are tons of these assets out there that they don't have any other good possible use for it. Our business today is also building them. So we bought 12 acres. In fact, I bought just 7.2 acres directly on next to, there is a Dell web property by us. So I don't know if you were able to have them by you, but they are 55 plus homes. Okay. So picture 5,500 homes that are all 55 plus. So I bought 12 acres. Best dirt possible. I paid $200,000 per acre. We are building homes because then I get to choose areas that we can build an absolute perfect home. The benefit there is on a brand new A-class asset, a bank is going to give me a cap rate of 5.5%.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
When you have 5.5% cap rate, you get an extremely different outcome of what that asset is in because it's a B2 property. They don't care if it's pink, purple. They only care what does it earn. And for our business, that's a good thing for us. So we are going to build 3 pods of about 3 homes each, and we're going to have an average of about 15 beds in each home. So it's 144 beds total, but it breaks out to these individual homes that's going to have that cool just home feel.
That's awesome, man. So
Thank you.
Again, are using real estate as a vehicle to generate some massive passive income, as you say, and which I think is great, man. So I have one question for you. What is your biggest challenge, and how are you overcoming that from 2020? We all go through our struggles in the business and challenges that we face, that we constantly are taking action steps to overcome it. Let's talk about some of the challenges you have in this type of business, and what are you doing in 2020 to overcome it?
Oh my goodness. So when I first got into this business, banks wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot pole because they wouldn't. The bankers I talked to really just didn't believe you could earn this type of dollars per home. So they basically told me like, hey, go open up your first home, come back afterwards. And that could have easily turned people off because they typically feel that banks are like the only option out there. But I found that to be in the business, I think you got to be very open to other opportunities. And people who typically have a background if they're a background caring for people, healthcare for 10, 15, 20 years, they don't get into the business because they don't think they can get the dollars to open up the homes. But if you just begin asking people like, hey, would you carry back paper for 5 to 10 years? And if I give you the full asking price, like if you put the action in, you can definitely get people to do that, particularly if you give them price or terms, So I was talking to a guy the other day, and to be in, I think, any business, I think you got to kind of have the boldness to jump out of the airplane without everything like fully packaged up. You got to figure out kind of how to like put things together, kind of like as you're like in the air coming down. And I took action early on. I often find that people, they overthink everything and they don't ever take action. And then they think on it and think on it and think on it. But the problem is you can think on it for 2, 3, 5, 10 years. But if you keep doing that, people are going to be getting older. In fact, 2020 through 2035 is a great time to be in the business. So this is a great time to be getting in. What are the other challenges? Finding private capital. Before I did any deals was harder. Those first couple investors that jumped on board with us, we had to be open to give them a very, very good deal to have them partner up with us. And you've got to figure out how to get things done, even if it isn't perfect in your mind, just to get through that first one. Because with us having 3 properties open today, it's easier to bring dollars in because we've kind of gone through that upfront proof of concept to kind of prove it out. That was an upfront challenge, is just finding capital. But as we are able to go today, we are finding that there's plenty of dollars all over the place. It's just people, they want you to kind of prove it out first before they put their own dollars in. And I totally get that. Challenges today, as we are able to grow, I mean, as we build 144 beds, we've got, our biggest challenge is to build, so a home is easy, to book up beds is easy, but for 144 beds, to keep from going into overtime, we need to hire 168 caregivers. So we are building homes. I mean, those are things that we are constantly thinking through, and how we are able to overcome that is we are building each of these homes with a 4,000 square foot unfinished one basement. We're doing that because as it gets too tough, we can build out bedrooms down there and actually offer bedrooms for our care team to offset, because there are caregivers out there that they don't actually own their own home because they are in homes all of the time. And if we're able to offer them housing, and if we are able to offer them just food, we will be better off than everybody else who's trying to figure out how to hire people when it gets very tight. Mm-hmm. So because when that is able to happen, I think it's going to happen by 2025. What they're going to begin doing is they're going to have to pay $18 to $20 per hour. Well, that drives up your costs and everything. Well, if we are able to offer housing because we have been proactive, we can actually get a care team that is in our homes, that they are focused on us because we are able to offer them housing. So all of those things that are able to come at you, you can figure out how to overcome them if you are going to be open-minded. I do feel that a bunch of these other folks that are in this business are big, giant businesses with a very, a very corporate attitude on things where like it takes them forever to change anything. You've got to be able to change early and change and adapt. You have to do that very early on to keep up with the ongoing.
Yeah, that's
the ongoing changes.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's in every business. You have to be able to adapt and change to be able to survive in a growing marketplace, man. This is some great stuff. I really enjoyed you being on the show today and share with us this investment strategy. I've had people on from mobile home parks and different types of one of a kind. So this is definitely a watch for everybody when you see this. Thanks again for coming on the podcast. PFREI, a passion for real estate investments. You can catch us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I appreciate it. So let me just let people know where they can find more information. Is Shepherd Premier Senior Living.com. That's Shepherd Premier Senior Living.com. If you want to find some more information about that. And also we have BabyBoomersBusTour.com. We actually doing bus tours of these. That's BabyBoomerBusTours.com and ShepherdPremierSeniorLiving.com. Make sure you guys check it out. Appreciate you coming on the show today, man.
Thank you. If there's anybody that is going to be interested, that Baby Boomer Bus Tour, I do that about once per quarter. Anyone that is interested in being able to open up their own home, there are plenty of opportunities. But we feel that it's best that if you are interested in doing it, to come on out. So I will take you through all of our homes. If anybody is interested in parking dollars, obviously talk with us too. And that's an opportunity too. I do use a app for booking a calendar appointment. It is Brandon, Brandon. It's schwab.com. So That is the other one. Just hope that is able to help.
Absolutely. Thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.